Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. And do we have a special treat for you here today where we're going to talk about how to raise your vibration, raise your energy, and help you switch the channel from a place of, are you feeling kind of tired, exhausted, and worn down this week? That's the week it's been for almost all of us. And so tonight we're going to look at how you can switch that channel and make some very quick state changes to take you from that place of, putting up my notes here, from that place of to a place of a very, very grounded, safe place. With that said, if you feel your wheels are spinning this week, you are not alone, not in the least. So I wanted to share a brief story with you. Earlier today, so we live in just outside Joshua Tree, California. We have, at least for the winter, at this retreat center. It's beautiful, beautiful place. Yucca trees all around, which are kind of Dr. Seuss trees at funny angles. And we have, if you were to take a drive, it's almost a couple-hour mountain drive to get to Big Bear, California, where there's mountains and snow and skiing and all sorts of those things. There is a twisty-turny mountain dirt road where you can get there if you have a very serious off-road vehicle only. You can get there much sooner. And so it has been my goal over the last couple months to find a way on my mountain bike to make it to Big Bear and back on the same day. And so today was my day of challenging myself. And what does this have to do? It has to do with energy on a lot of levels. But first off, you will be amazed at what challenging yourself to do anything that feels in alignment. You will be amazed at what that will do for your psyche and spirit. Now, I say in alignment because if you challenge yourself to go mountain bike up 5,000 feet on a dirt road and you hate mountain biking, you're going to bring yourself down, way down. However, if it's something that lights you up, painting, drawing, dancing, riding, writing, taking care of somebody, helping somebody out, whatever it is, building a business, if you challenge yourself, you will come to life. Right now, we have been so pushed down by the man, by watching the news, by everything going on around us, by COVID, by lockdowns, by you know what, whatever. And I'm not trying to put us in a place of victimhood because that is the ultimate in bringing yourself down. And we'll be talking more about that tonight. However, if you find something that lights you up, that excites you, that's a goal. You will go from feeling exhausted on the couch, exhausted at any point in the day, to supercharged to try things out. And so today for me, and it's been a process this whole winter, I thought I could make it to Big Bear. And so I pedaled my little heart out. I went over the ridge here, which gets me over the spine to another town where I consider myself kind of escaping gravity. I got onto this Jeep road. I'm flying up the hills. I'm getting exhausted, but I'm checking how's my energy levels. Am I going to be able to make it? Where am I at? What does my time look like? What do my legs feel like? And I keep on hitting these roads that are saying 1 NO2, 2 NO2, Jeep road, this road. Nothing is saying to Big Bear. And it's getting really, really confusing. But I was trusting my internal GPS. Kind of, there's a process of automatic writing. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. I can hear, I can channel, and I get wisdom from the guides, something you'll be able to do. And so I'm listening to them and I'm making all the right turns. However, I don't know what my energy level is going to be like to get back. And so finally, when I budgeted the last bit of time to get back for Jessica when I said I would, because it's a very long ride, and if I don't get back around the same time, she's going to freak out and wonder, am I okay? We have tracking software so she can track me, but it turns out in the hills, it's very inaccurate. I just disappear off of the map and she goes, what happened? So I turn around, I get back. I didn't make it to my goal. In fact, I looked tonight before class and said, how close did I come? And I was only about 10 minutes away from Big Bear, only 10 minutes. Now, Napoleon Hill of Think and Grow Rich, he shares a fascinating story about somebody who owned a gold mine and stopped. He chiseled and chiseled and chiseled for years and stopped just 3 feet to be exact, from gold, and sold it for pennies on the dollar to somebody else and quit. The number of times we have been so incredibly, you and I, close to our goal and quit is staggering if you look back at your life. However, I want to challenge you to look at things from a different perspective. We can say, oh, Michael, you didn't make it. You failed. You gave up. You quit. You whatever. No. I made a very wise decision to turn at that point and say, I will come back and do this another day. What does this have to do with energy? Things are not black and white. Energy is all about awareness. It is all about looking at things a new way. If you look at the world as black and white, as good and bad, as right or wrong, not that there's some things that we would wish take place in the world and we would certainly want them to go another direction. But if we look at things in this binary way, then we are doomed to fail and feel miserable in the process. How harsh is it to say, man, you got only 10 minutes away and you turned around, why'd you quit? No, man. I got 10 minutes away. I scoped things out. I know what I've got in the tank. I know I can do it next time. I know what I get to do differently. I know how I get to budget. And I'm on fire because I have flipped the switch or switched the channel on how I am perceiving things. You can do this too. So here in the States today, nobody knew what was going to take place. Is it going to be dramatic? Is it going to be chaotic? Is it going to be who knows what? And first off, I would encourage you never to dwell on that. I'm not bigs and nevers and shoulda, woulda, couldas. However, when we dwell on a negative state, it only brings us down. And we're going to talk in a few minutes more about how you can switch that channel. However, if you think of the world as an ascending view, as an ascending point of view, what does that mean? If you view the world like us circling the sun and realize that we're in a galaxy, then that's circling, and the galaxy is circling, and everything is circling, and it's always circling upwards. That's consciousness. Always expanding, always growing, always circling upwards. Then you can look at what's taking place or not taking place in your life, in the States, in the world, and you can realize the or something greater that I'm always talking about. Or something greater means ever expanding positive possibilities. Or something greater, ever expanding positive possibilities. What does that mean, Michael? It means that when you feel you're stuck, you're not. You couldn't be stuck no matter how much you tried. Okay, you can go to San Andreas, or not San Andreas, you can go to the, I don't even remember, the quicksands out by LA, and you could get yourself La Brea's tar pits. There we go. You can get yourself in the tar pits and you can feel pretty mighty stuck. But from what I understand, I'm not so sure about tar pits, but quicksand, you're only stuck if you fight against it. How cool is that? You're only stuck if you fight against what is. If instead you recognize there's something more at work, something more at play, and that things are ever expanding upwards with positive possibilities, always, by definition, always expanding upwards with positive possibilities, then you're no longer stuck. I could do this trip to Big Bear a dozen times, and if I learn something new, which inherently every single time is going to be different, so I'm going to learn something new, then I am always expanding, always growing. We had on this past week, and he's going to be back in just a couple more weeks, Mark Victor Hansen of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And it was either 142 or 144 times he was rejected for his books. Co-author, of course. They were rejected for their books 144 times. When I got out my first book, College Confidence with ADD, that made me a professional author, I think it was 84 or 86 pitches I had made, letters that I'd put out there, and then 30 or so agents. So about 110 times before I was finally picked up. Actually, I had 3 publishers that was interested, and I went with what I felt was the best of the bunch. Barefoot Running, a few years later, we had 10 publishers in a bidding war. Why? Because I was never stuck to begin with those 84, 86, 88 tries. I was learning, I was expanding, I was growing. Mark Victor Hansen, he not only sold his book at the 144th try, but then they got onto a local TV station and were selling 7,000 copies a week. What does this mean? It means that my bike ride was not futile. Your efforts are not futile. If you want to shift your energy, we get to reframe what we're looking at. A reframe is a switching of the dial. It is maybe just a 1-degree adjustment that changes everything. If I look at you here, it's completely different than if I look at you here. In fact, this probably doesn't look so appealing to you. That's just a 1-degree shift. Imagine what is possible in your life if you go from here, just to there. Now, I'm going to share more about how we can switch channels. I wanted to briefly tell you, I'm getting tongue-tied here. I'm so excited. We have our automatic writing experience book called Awe coming out in a week and a half. We're top 10 in new books, spiritualism releases. I think we're top 4 in one other category right now. How does it get any better than this? The book doesn't even exist. We already ran out of the initial first print. They've asked me to do a second print. I've said absolutely to that. I wouldn't be surprised if that sells out as well before it actually goes from pre-sale to sale. So you're going to want to go to Amazon. You're going to want to get a copy of this. When I speak with you, I am speaking heart to heart. This is how I do my coaching as well. So I'm basically hear what's going on with you. And I'm speaking connected to spirit or connected to source. You can call it channeling. You can call it mediumship. You can call it just listening carefully. It's a process I've honed over years that anyone can do. You can channel. You can be a medium. You can hear from your guides. Each day on the Patreon, and we're going to be switching it over or adding it onto YouTube in a couple weeks, I get a daily download from the Guides of Awe. And I share that with people. That's something you can get as well. Not just words of wisdom, so to speak, or daily downloads from my guides, but from your guides. And when we talk about switching energy, nothing is more powerful than putting pen to paper, going into prayer, and hearing from something greater than yourself. I tend to get, Michael, you are loved, you are good, everything is all right. This morning, they actually took me in a completely different direction, which was very interesting because they were talking about what I would be teaching tonight. And originally, it was going to be embracing the chaos. And they said, dear one, because the difference between journaling and automatic writing is a second person operation. It's a you are, or dear one, or loved one. Because universe is always speaking to you from a loving voice. If universe is ever speaking to you from anything other than a loving voice, it's not universe. That's called your ego. And actually, in an automatic writing experience, we have an exercise you can do to deal with ego, actually to help heal ego and bring ego in and help incorporate ego into you. Make it your BFF, but never give ego the keys to the car. Never put ego in the driver's seat. But that's a story for another day. But you hear in automatic writing, dear one, loved one, things like that. So I got dear one. Embracing the chaos is off track. People are already feeling down. They're already feeling spun. They're already feeling hurt. Help them to learn how to shift gears rather than talking to them about something that they already know. There's chaos in the world. And then it went on and shared everything that I'm talking to you tonight. Actually, that's not true. It shared about half of what I'm talking to you about tonight, but I can hear spirit. And so the rest is just coming out of me. And then it tells me what's most important to get done in the day, what I need to do, where I need to go, learnings for the day. In other words, I've got a GPS from spirit. How does it get any better than this? If you've ever read Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God, then you understand that you can literally communicate with God, with source, with spirit, with the universe, with angels, with your inner wisdom, no matter what you want to call it, even loved ones on the other side. And so I highly encourage you. You can call this my little sales pitch here. But when it comes to shifting your energy, there is nothing to me more important than automatic writing experience. And I'm going to talk more about it later. Nothing more important than each day tapping into spirit, touching base with something greater than yourself. Why? Because this guy up here, no matter how smart you are, and actually, I would shift and go beyond that. The smarter you are, the easier it is to mess yourself up. I'm a pretty smart guy. I could go on and on about the degrees and the this and the that and the things that it doesn't matter. That's not real smarts, actually. Book smarts and intuitive smarts are two different things. Now put them together and you become unstoppable. But if you go to the head, if you go to intellect, you can get yourself in real trouble. And intellect right now without heart will bring you down hard, will bring you down cold. You want to get hurt. You want to feel bad. You want a low-level energy right now. Then you try to intellectually eat everything going on in the world today, and you will feel like crap. That's the technical definition. If instead you learn how to balance head and heart. Notice I said balance. A lot of people say, oh, we've got to learn how to go just from our heads to our hearts. That's great. But typically that means you're flighty, you're unplugged, untethered. And you're like, that doesn't help anyone either. And we've met so many beautiful spiritual folk who are no longer grounded. Also met a lot of spiritual folk who unplug from their bodies and get really, really unhealthy. We're talking balance. And just as a shameless plug for movement here, why, if I'm building this business, why, if I'm doing all these things, am I out there trying to climb a mountain, trying to do this, trying to do that with my bicycle, rather than doing this? Because if you want to be energized, get back in your body. Walk, run, climb, play, do a racket sport, do anything that gets the body moving and gets your energy flowing again. You've heard the term chi. It's real. You get the energy flowing inside of you, and you can't help but feel better. But now going back to where I was before, if you really want to feel better, we get to get you back into your hearts. That is what it's all about. And you can intellectualize your way away from that. Easiest way we can do that is through awareness. Becoming aware of yourself, becoming aware of who and where you are in time and space. I've known many people, even clients, who are losing all day, week, month, even year, focusing on the news, negative, worthless stimulation. Why do I call it that? Because it's important, perhaps. I'm going to go with it can be important to know what's going on, to know what you get to do next. However, if you dwell on that, it only brings you down. And if you are intellectualizing the news, which means to be eating all of it like popcorn, there is no end to it. No end to the news. And no end to the indigestion you will have and the feeling of being lost, bewildered, or confused. Social media is the same thing. Social media has the ability to bring you up, particularly group activities, group meditations. And if you hang around, we're going to be doing a group meditation, woohoo, kind of an NLP exercise, neuro-linguistic programming, at the end to bring your energetic state up, way up. But if you're ingesting your social media and you check in, that's awareness, and say, how do I feel? How do I feel? And you find, this is the technical term that I like to use, you find you're feeling icky. Then stop, man. Full stop. News feeling icky, stop. Facebook feeling icky, stop. But don't just stop, because we're talking about elevating you here tonight. We're talking about getting your energy up, way up. So we link that ickiness with something positive. It's all about micro habits and linking. In other words, I'm doing things to get you out of the thinking mind. If I have to think about, well, what can I do next? I don't feel so good. We don't come up with something. That's like saying, well, I'll exercise sometime. If the exercise isn't linked or anchored to an action, an activity, or a time in the day, it doesn't happen. If the exercise is not linked to an action, an activity, or a time in the day, it doesn't happen. And so we get to link a rebounding activity to each experience that brings us down. So we're working on creating even better programs for you, even greater programming of turning our interviews into, and we do have a Netflix pilot in the work, but turning our interviews into something that is even more exciting and fun to watch. And it means getting new team members to help us to do this. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? So let's take news, for example, because there are time periods in my life when I go away from it entirely. There are time periods, like right now, that I'm curious what's going on. I don't need to know everything, because there is no need to know everything. I don't need to dive into things, because that'll make me feel icky. But it'd be nice to know, if am I going to be able to grocery shop? It'll be nice to know, am I going to be able to travel? It'll be nice to know what's going on with racism and other things in this country, and things that affect my guests and things that affect you. So I dive in and I take a look. And I get a quick scan and I go, ooh, awareness. I'm not feeling so great right now. What do? I switch the channel. Okay, here's the secret. Everything you've been taught about your mind is wrong. You are in charge of your mind. Does the mind want to keep going? Yes. Does the ego continuously scan and look for danger? Yes. However, You have the remote control. You can switch the channel. No, I can't. My mind just keeps going. Can you switch the channel on Netflix? Well, yeah. Can you switch to a different website? Well, yeah. Then you can switch what your mind is focusing on, because that's doing it. What do you mean? Well, it can be hard to intrinsically, meaning inside of us, just focus on switching to something else. So you're dwelling on the knees and you go, I want to just think about puppies and roses. With a lot of meditative practice and mindfulness training and things that I do teach, you can get there. You can definitely get there. But much easier to just actually Google puppies and roses. And now we're using technology for you. Look up positive news. Look up good news. Look up uplifting stories. Find a show like ours, which is probably why you're here tonight, because there's an energetic transmission. Because when I'm speaking to you here, but I'm speaking to you through the heart as well. You can feel that energy. There's a transmission to each and every show that I do. Each and every time I speak, whether coaching, whether teaching, whether a guided meditation, whether this, there's a transmission. You can choose to go to a station where there is a transmission in alignment with where you want to go. All you need to do is switch the channel. So for myself, after I've scanned that negative, worthless stimulation, I then say, hey, we're working on completely up-leveling our show. Let's see if I can find that right person. Let's see who's got the artistic and creative ability that's going to help me to do this. Let's look at what I can do. Woohoo! I've done a couple really cool things here, and you can too. First off, I have just switched the channel. Secondly, I have just gone into the creative process of saying, what can be done? What are the possibilities? And I encourage you to get in that creative process. If you feel stuck, if you feel down, if you feel there's no hope, what can you do to build, to create, to play? And that brings me to number 3. As I am looking into this, I now have hope. There is nothing more draining of hope than news and social media. News, because it shows you everything that's wrong, in quotes, with the world. And there is plenty we get to change, okay? God is. Everything is perfect as it is, and there's a lot that we can change at the same time. It's a paradox. The more we hold that, the better we are to raise our vibration. Secondly, social media, as a general rule, shows you how other people are presenting themselves. You know, if I went out and just took pictures of me on the mountain bike ride today, you think that's cool. He's got the high life. Well, I've still got the day-to-day drudgery as well. We all do. Social media rarely shows you that side of things. Yes, it may get you riled up for God knows what. Again, that's not the positive. But even when people are showing you the positive, it brings you down because you feel like they've got it made and you don't. They're still putting on their pants one leg at a time. And so what do? We switch the channel to something where we're building, where we're growing, where we see positive possibilities, where we have hope. I call myself an alchemist or a sorcerer or a magician. They all mean the same thing. One who plays with magic or plays with energy. And guess what, my friend? You are a magician, a sorcerer, and an alchemist as well. What do you mean, Michael? With every single thought, you're casting a spell. Every single thought, you're casting a spell. Puppies and roses, puppies and roses, puppies and roses. You're casting a spell of goodness. You're attracting more goodness. You can check out last week's YouTube Live where we talked about the concept of a magnet. And when I do this, I mean inside of you creates a polarity outside of you that attracts things in. As you raise the polarity or raise the strength of the magnet inside, you attract things outside. Puppies and roses, puppies and roses, puppies and roses. No, I'm just using it as an example. The world isn't all puppies and roses. On the other hand, it's all perspective. And one level, it is. On the other hand, if you're dwelling on, oh my God, the Capitol, oh my God, this, the election, the this, the that, the whatever. And I'm not saying there aren't things that we can work on or that things that are very important. Although I would argue nothing is more important than is in here, because as above, so below, what we reflect on the inside is what we see on the outside. What we reflect on the inside is what we affect and reflect on the outside. So, when we are focused on something positive, we are casting the most amazing spell, magic spell, bing, in the world to create something positive. When we are focusing on the negative, focusing on the fear, focusing on a worst case scenario, focusing on what we can't do, focusing on being realistic, bing, that's what I call an anti-spell. That's creating something too. A spell is bringing you up. An anti-spell is bringing you down. And so the question becomes, what kind of spells do you wish to cast on the world? More simply put, how do you want to feel? The simplest way you can change your energetic state is by changing where you put your mind. Now, you could say, Michael, somebody just passed away, and oh my God, I send so much love your way. Michael, I've just lost my job. I get it. I've been there. I send all my love to you. Michael, look, there are real challenges in this world. There's no doubt about it. And grief is grief, and you need the time to heal. Now, Dr. John Demartini, I will say, he has said there is a method of curing grief instantly. I haven't checked that out yet, but you can check out Dr. John Demartini, who's been on the show. And I hope that he has something really, really cool there. And I know him very well, so my guess is he does. But in general, I want you to be okay with where you're at. And at the same time, be willing to try to change the channel. If somebody's just, all right, there is an organization, a group, a seller of books out there who the name kind of has something to do with the jungle, but I won't give you their exact name. And years ago, and this was actually for our highest good, so I thank them for this now. Years ago, when we had our paperback book of another book taking off, they shut it down in favor of the Kindle. We came back from Christmas or fall, right before Christmas, we came back from a tour of Southeast Asia and found our book sales had been shut completely off. And we were beside ourselves. And we called them up and they said it's because our Kindle was now the #1 exercise and fitness book on Kindle worldwide. Woohoo! So they biased it over the paperback. Totally get that. Makes sense to me. It really hurt. However, we had two choices. One, focus on the negative. I've been victimized. I've been hurt. How could this happen? This is so terrible. This is so wrong. Why did they do this to us? What are we going to do about this? I'm enraged. I'm ticked off. I have indignation. Righteous indignation. I'm in the right. They're wrong. And that would have brought me down, both of us, down and down and down and down and down. It's interesting I bring up this story now because our book is doing so well. Top 10 spiritualism, top 4 in another category. How does it get any better than this? Of new releases, that is, of new releases. Had I stayed on the negative, everything bad would have come of it. Instead, what did I do? Well, first off, I got to teach at Kripalu a few weeks after that. And there's nothing better to change your energetic state than helping someone else. Let me say that again. There is nothing better to change your energetic state than helping someone else. Let me say that one more time, switching some notes here. Actually, there we go. There is nothing better to change your energetic state than helping someone else. And so I got to teach at Kripalu and felt so much better. At the same time, Jessica challenged me. Oh my God, did she challenge me? I can't even say that enough. I was working on her next book, and she made me stop. And I thought, as is the title of Paul Selig's recent interview, and I can't recommend that enough, I thought the REM song, It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I did not feel fine. I was afraid that if we stopped our next book, it would never be picked up again. I would lose all momentum. I'd be crushed. I'd be destroyed. I'd be blah, 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 blah. It's the ego. Can you see where the ego is going? And I had to step back. I had to switch channels. And I had to say, what are the positive possibilities spiraling upwards that I'm not seeing? What are the positive possibilities spiraling upwards that I'm not seeing? On that note, I can hear Dane here ringing around in the back of my head. He has the most amazing book, Being You, Changing the World, that talks about all the amazing questions you can ask yourself to change your perspective, to change your life. Being You, Changing the World. Dane here. We've had him on the show many, many times. Love him very dearly. In fact, our most recent interview with him, I was holding Ruru the rooster. Okay. Positive possibilities spiraling upwards. Jessica says you have to stop your book. I'm going, oh God, no. But I stepped back, I went quiet, and I thought to myself, and this was prior to awe, but I'm sure the guides of awe were in my head somewhere. And I heard this is actually an opportunity in disguise. And so I reached out, and I was told it's years to get a book deal. She said, you need to sell your book. That's going to get us back on track. And I'm like, but I'm writing it. I don't feel ready to sell it. And we're going to have to sell our previous book too. But that's my baby. Everything's wrong. I'm being victimized. I'm the victim. I'm being ruined. My life's being ruined. Everything's being taken away from me. Au contraire. You're being shown a different way, 1 degree off. It's supposed to be a couple years or a year to get a book deal, another year for your book to get out. And I reached out, I think it was right before I went to Kripalu. I reached out to a bunch of agents. Oddly enough, one of the top agents with the other author from Chicken Soup of the Soul reached out to us. Some magnificent agents reached out to us. And after Kripalu, I left and went straight to New York City. It's only a few weeks later. And tromped around in New York barefoot, but that's a whole nother story. For a 10-book bidding war on 10 publisher bidding war on 2 books. The one I had to stop and the one that was already selling well. And we got $350,000. $350,000. $350,000 out of having somebody stop selling, but really bury our book. We ended up with $350,000. Why? Because we recognized that there are powerful possibilities spiraling upwards if we step back and reevaluate the situation, which means getting out of victimhood. So how do you wish to feel? Really, how do you wish to feel? What are some simple exercises you can do right now? First off, put on the TV. What kind of teacher says put on the TV? Watch something positive. Watch something inspirational. We just got for $6.99 the Disney Channel this month just so that we could watch the movie Soul. And it was worth it. Find yourself positive things to ingest. Positive movie, positive shows, positive interviews like this one. Put on positive music. Make your home like a spa, or make your home a place you want to dance. And get dancing. Give yourself permission to be childlike. Not childish, childlike. A few other things that you can do. One, if Jessica goes down, I know it's probably my fault, but with that said, if Jessica goes down, the number one thing that I can do is, well, probably a massage for her. Number two thing, though, is declutter. When we are surrounded by too much stuff, we go into overwhelm. You know what I'm talking about. What can you do to declutter your environment? What can you do to give yourself more space, more breathing room? Man, it's just, I don't even know where to begin. Grab your desk, grab your coffee table, grab 1 square foot and start there. Or get busy with a broom, a mop, a vacuum, whatever. But decluttering is a gift you give your soul. It's a gift that keeps on giving because it changes your energetic state and allows you to think and breathe more easily. So declutter. Or take a shower or a bath, or I can't recommend an Epsom salt bath enough. When my clients go down, one of the number one things that I say is go give yourself a bath. Get some Epsom salts, get some lavender, get some candles if it's safe, and really give yourself the spa treatment. And if nothing else, change the music you are playing. A few more things, and then we are going to open it up to some questions here. One of my favorites, and I was using this today on the bike ride, is repeat a mantra. And that gets at a very important point. You don't have to go it alone. It's one of the greatest things you get out of awe, the automatic writing experience when you dive into awe, is you realize you are surrounded by angels and guides at every moment. Now, if you're not spiritual, you are surrounded by inner wisdom at any moment. The fact of the matter is you're a spiritual being having a human existence, and you could not be alone or unplugged from spirit, from source, from this energetic field, from what Dr. Ervin Laszlo, who's been on this show many times, he coined the term the Akashic field. You could not be unplugged from anyone or anything, no matter how you tried. You know you're plugged in. How do I know? Christmas morning, how'd you feel? Chances are pretty good. Why? Because everybody else was feeling pretty good. Past years was really good. But this year is pretty good as well. And you can feel how they're feeling. A couple days ago, I guess it was last week, we've got the rioting, the storming of Congress. How did you feel? Chances are pretty anxious, even if you weren't watching the news. Why? Because we are one. We are all attached. We are all together. We are all one spiritual being. We're each having our own unique experience and a group experience. What does this mean? It means we can go into prayer and call on energy outside or greater than ourselves. I cannot count the number of times where I have gone down and I've said, angels help me, angels guide me. God help me, God help me, God help me. And I start to feel better. Now, in my worst days, I would actually probably have an argument with God first. Why did you do this to me? That's the victimization mode. But if I actually asked for help, I felt much better. So in my darkest days, I couldn't say I love myself. I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. One of my all-time favorite expressions now, and not out of a narcissistic way. This is out of a really loving and treasuring who I am, and you really loving and treasuring who you are. But before that, I could not say that. So instead, I went to gratitude, which I call the ultimate precursor or catalyst of love. Gratitude is the ultimate precursor or catalyst of love. It brings love about. The cool thing about a catalyst is it's never eaten up in a chemical reaction. It always still exists. No matter how much gratitude you give, there's still room to give more gratitude. And no matter how much love you give, there's room to give more love. Which is why one of the greatest things that you can possibly do is give thanks and give love. Helping someone, anyone else, matters and matters greatly. And so in my darkest days, I would just say, thank you, God. And I don't believe in a bearded white guy in the sky. I'm like, thank you, God means thank you, love. Thank you, existence. Thank you, energy. Thank you, earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. 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 As I was running out of steam a little bit on my ride, I went to thanking the angels and archangels. I'm in communication through automatic writing with the angels. You will be too. And so I'm saying, thank you, angels, thank you, angels, thank you, angels. And suddenly I'm feeling much, much better. You can go into prayer in the morning. You can go into prayer in the evening. You can go into prayer anytime you want. Now, a couple last ones, and then we're going to open it up to questions, is first off, one of my all-time favorite techniques is EFT tapping. And depending on time, I may or may not show you that this evening. It's something we've had on the show, Dr. Dawson Church. We've had on Nick Ortner. We've had on Jessica Ortner. EFT tapping has been shown by the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and by others to dramatically improve somebody's state when they have stress, when they have anxiety, even or especially when they have PTSD. Real brief story. I struggled with PTSD for almost 7 years. Why? Well, because I was racing bicycles in Europe. I was trying to make it to the Tour de France. And I think it was my second season. Second season, I did 3 seasons in Europe. Third season was just kind of like getting off of crutches and playing a little bit. Because in the second season, in the middle of the summer, I'm in a race in the French Alps, a town called Hauteville, High Town. And I come into this town and a French gentleman gives me some water. Yeah. The crowd's going crazy. Vous allez. And I get to a French roundabout, like a rotary. And a safety official has his wand out. He's got his vest on. And he waves me through the turn. And the French crowd is going, Vous allez, allez American, allez American, allez, ooh. Whew. Wow, it hit me again tonight. I'm closing my eyes and literally seeing myself flipping over the hood of a car. Please forgive me. I see myself hitting the ground. I see or feel that I'm okay. And then I look and I see that my left leg has a 90-degree bend in it above the ankle. It's like that, where it should be straight. And I was in so much pain that it's a miracle that I told myself not to bite the pavement. I don't know what would have happened to my teeth. And instead I grabbed with my fingers and clawed the hot pavement and had asphalt in my nails for weeks from the pain I was in. They brought me to the hospital. This was in France. And it took 8 people to cold set my leg, which means they held me down, yanked, Jesus, pulled my leg apart, snapped it back into approximate place. And I was in screaming in such pain. They left me in a hallway for what they called observation, until I would stop screaming. And then when they felt that I had learned my lesson, that I couldn't scream, they brought me into a room where they kept me in observation for over 12 hours till midnight, before they would finally give me pain medication. My guess is now looking back on it, I never thought about it. Maybe they wanted to see if I had a concussion or not. And so that probably saved my life if I had had a concussion. I don't know if I did or not. I was in so much pain that I literally don't know if I had had a gun, if I'd still be here. I was screaming. I was pulling on this triangle in the room, trying to snap the bed in two. While I went back to racing briefly the next year, and God, universe, source actually gifted me with a win in a mountain bike race in Europe in between operations. My hardware in my leg fell apart soon after that. I was stuck back on crutches for another 6 months. I had PTSD where I would have flashbacks where if a sheet would touch my leg because there was nerve damage, in quotes at the time, I would flash back to there, sort of like I'm going back now, but I've got things under control now. And it was a career-ending injury. Had I known then what I know now, didn't have to be, but it was meant to be. But see, for the next 6.5 years, I played the victim role. And I said, God is dead. There is no God. If there was a God, this never would have happened to me. And I had PTSD and flashbacks and night sweats and repeated screaming sessions at night, and tremendous back pain. My back gave out when I was on crutches. I had heard it probably mildly, L4 and L5 during that accident. But because I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet, I couldn't support myself. My back went out on me the next year. And I was in and out of pain centers for the next 6.5, 7 years. They tried EMDR. They tried all sorts of techniques. I didn't know meditation. I didn't know anything I was teaching you tonight. I didn't know EFT tapping. All of these would have been tremendously helpful. It was time in nature coupled with meditation, very substantial meditation and awareness exercises that got me better. EFT tapping, where you literally tap on different pressure points. Tap, 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 tap. I'm sorry, I'm still reliving this as I'm talking with you. I get to flip the channel. EFT tapping could have taken me out of there. So if you're struggling to change the channel, I would try tapping. And if people ask, I'll give a demonstration of that. And then I didn't know automatic writing. Had I known automatic writing, I would have gone into a meditative state, which I teach in the book. And I would have said, what do I need to know today? And I'm sure I would have heard, dear one, you're going to be all right. Here's step number 1 to help you heal. Here's step 2. Here's step 3. Here's what I want you to do today. Here's what you get to focus on. Here's why you're loved. And on it would have gone. That's why automatic writing is such a powerful tool. And that's why I can't recommend it enough. Again, book is for sale, pre-sales on Amazon. It's already ran out once. I'm expecting it to run out again. Although, be careful what you think about you bring about. Well, we're ordering more books. How's that? So it's good that people get it out there. I actually recommend people to get 3 copies, one for yourself, one for a parent or friend or family member, and one for somebody struggling. You want to feel better. Give somebody a gift. I feel automatic writing, but help somebody in need, and you will feel much, much better. Much, much better. And lastly, there's meditation itself. Meditation helps you. So if you're in a moment of freak out, I don't use meditation as a drug. There are a lot of people who do and actually get addicted to meditation. It's crazy. Ego taking the back door. But you can use meditation as a drug of being able to sit down, get in a loving space, and step back and look at yourself and look at what's going on and realize you are stuck in a dwelling state and you get to switch the channel. And when you become the infinite observer of yourself, literally, you can go into meditation. You can go hang out in the corner of the room. Stuart Wilde, one of my all-time favorite spiritual authors, passed away a good decade ago now. Stewie was the nickname he went by. And he talked about hanging out in the upper corner of a room, watching himself. You can do that in meditation. And when you do that, you realize how silly it is, no judgment, to stay in a lower vibrational state. And you have a much easier time of switching the channel. So with that said, I want to open it up to questions here tonight and see what you have to ask, what's on your mind. And let's see what I can address for a little bit. And then we are going to go into a beautiful, beautiful meditation. Actually, we're going to do an NLP exercise helping you to find your happy place. Something I had to learn years ago when I was actually in a state of freak out before bicycle races, when I was getting back to the pro level, years, actually almost a decade after that accident. So Jessica is coming over here. She has, we have a new camera set up. We have a monitor so we can see everything that's going on. Real quick story as she's sitting down. One of my first big TV interviews was on the WB, Warner Brothers news years ago in Denver. And you'd look into the camera to speak, but the TV camera had an image in it that you saw instead of a lens. And the image was you. And I was not prepared to see myself when looking at the camera. And inside, I did a little bit of a freak out until I went back to the meditations that I'd been trained in to step out of myself and, in a sense, become an observer of myself. And once I could observe the scene, then I got myself out of that anxious state. Which means last but not least, check out Denise Wood's interview this coming Thursday. Oh my God, is it incredible? She is a voice coach. She was the voice coach for Halle Berry, voice coach for Will Smith and Ali, voice coach of many of the greatest Oscar winners out there. And she would say one of the greatest things that you can do is breathe and breathe deep. And I would actually say breathe deep and anchor yourself into the earth. You know, Pookie, I actually like being able to see myself here. I could never do that before.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it puts this smile. Isn't that weird? I know that's weird. You're probably thinking that's weird. But can you see how much I'm grinning now? And it's not an artificial grin of saying smile. It just feels heartwarming. Like I'm looking at this dude wearing yellow, got his little snake charm on, and I'm just wanting to smile.
Oh, Naoko wanted to see your pendant.
So this was gifted to me by a very dear, actually a couple who watched the show. And it is a moonstone with a snake on it. Now, snake energy is the energy of transformation. It's the energy of healing. It's the energy of life. We have had, and serpent energy. Also the wisdom keepers, things like ayahuasca is snake energy. And Jessica and I have a very, very special spiritual relationship with snakes. Snakes come up to us. Snakes do kundalini embraces in front of us. Snakes will climb up on trees and spend almost what appears to be an hour watching us as if communicating, truly probably is communicating with us telepathically. But when I think of this snake here, what I think of is shedding one's skin. It's like the phoenix, which is our new logo, which is rising from the ashes. The snake sheds its old skin in order to grow and become anew. And in other words, it's continuously going through a process of rebirth. And so to me, this represents the fact that we are ever growing, ever changing, ever ascending. And if we can recognize that, then we don't go to this low vibrational state of, oh, something's wrong, or oh, I didn't make it there. I'm having to turn around, and realize this is all for our highest good. This is all helping us raise up. This is all taking us to a new level. So with that said,
Ready to answer some questions?
I am, and I'm so glad you're joining me. Should I make some more
Probably.
room for you here? This is kind of cool. I want this camera like this all the time. This is like an epiphany moment.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying this.
Sounds good.
I'm just going to watch myself. That's weird. Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's a statement about how much healing you've done. I think in the past you had trouble looking at yourself because there wasn't that self-love.
I've shared the story probably too many times. I don't know. The 2-second version. The first time I practiced, I love myself in front of a mirror. And I went, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. I tore the bathroom apart, and that's an understatement because my ego wasn't ready to accept that messaging. And now I'm like, oh, what a cool guy. What a cool kid. I can see his inner love. I can see who he is. I can see his joyous exuberance for life. I'm like looking at myself through myself, but also looking at myself with the eyes of innocence, the eyes of a child. I don't even know how to describe it. But it's like I just want to hold Michael as if Michael's not me and say, you did good. You did good. It's all right. All right, before I start to sound even more unusual, please.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh my God.
From Snow Angel Spirit.
Yes.
Do you channel messages from your Akashic field?
That is a beautiful question, Snow Angel. Not very often, but I can. In fact, when I first learned a process that evolved into automatic writing, it started with channeling the Akashic Masters. Now, for some reason, I have chosen in my automatic writing to go to very specific guides who aren't the Akashic Masters. I can, and that technique does work for them as well. So certainly, whether you do it in automatic writing or like everything that I'm teaching in automatic writing or in our book, Awe, you can then use on a day-to-day basis as you get better at it without even having to write or type things down. And so you can plug into the Akashic Masters or to the Akashic field and hear from that on a daily basis. Now, when you say Akashic field, I'm assuming you mean Akashic Masters. The Akashic field, that's a field of information that is everything. All automatic writing, everything I channel comes from that field. But if you're talking the masters specifically, that's a different story. But Akashic field is another way to say the energy, the matrix of everything, of every beingness, of these lights are here. They're part of the Akashic field. This microphone is part of the Akashic field. Jessica is part of the Akashic field. We are all vibrations in the Akashic field. And so we can certainly tap into that Akashic field anytime we want. It helps to have a technique at first, although some people are actually so gifted that it just comes to them. But we can tap into that. And the more you do, the easier it is to hear that Akashic field any time of the day. And that truly changes everything.
Thanks.
Certainly.
Our next question is from Denise.
Yes.
How do we get inside? And by inside, she's referring to when you said, whatever is inside, it becomes outside, like your life.
Mm-hmm. So a brilliant, brilliant question, Denise. And a quick question now that I can see myself. Am I chopping off the top of my head?
The top of your hair.
Okay.
I don't think they're missing much.
All right. Well, when we go quiet, Denise, when we go into meditation, when we go into the woods, when we pray at the end of the evening, when we're in the half awake, half not awake, what's called hypnagogic state, which is what I train you to enter when you do automatic writing, or first thing in the morning when you're in half awake, half not awake state, you are communicating with your inside. Now, you can communicate it almost at any time of the day, but typically ego gets in the way or the thinking mind gets in the way. But those are the times of day when the veil is at its thinnest. Go for a walk in nature. Go for someplace that takes your breath away. look at a flower or, for instance, a rose. And clearly the Buddha, years and years ago, had a meditation or had a teaching actually, where all he did was have people look at a rose. In that time, when you're looking at that rose, you can hear what's on the inside. Now, if you're talking about how can I imprint a message, going back to Snow Angel, can I print a message? Because this is a two-way communication, a two-way street. In automatic writing, I teach you how to do a technique called the Woohoo 8, a manifestation technique. Because not only are you hearing from spirit, but you can put your requests into spirit. And to put your request in spirit, it is done in that hypnagogic state is where you can reach to the other side of the veil the easiest. So when you're in that half awake state, what's called a theta brainwave state, you can imprint messages in here that then have the most dramatic effect out here. But with that said, I was talking earlier about casting spells. And truly, Denise, every moment you are in communication with your inside, and every moment you are casting a spell. So, with each thought, you are affecting your inner world, thereby affecting the outer world, which is why we can cast spells and anti-spells. The spell, again, being, I love myself. The spell being, everything's working out. The spell being, this day is great and getting even better. The spell being, I love myself, or every day in every way, things are getting better and better, by Emile QA. When you cast that spell, it affects things in here and affects things out there. If you do an anti-spell and you go, oh my God, this is terrible. Oh my God, why did this happen? Oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You are casting a different spell in the inside that affects your outer world as well. So when that happens, we have so many techniques we've gone through tonight. Watch this over and over again and learn how to switch that channel.
This is also from Denise, but it's more of a statement I thought you could provide some clarification on.
Okay. Michael, if something bad happens, you have to accept it as it is. Accept it as it helps so much. Beautiful. Acceptance is a very powerful word, Denise, because we can't change what is, but we can change how we perceive it. So I had my second near-death experience outside of Lake Tahoe. And that was, holy crap, that wasn't fun. And I was stuck. Many other people's blood saved my life. Jessica saved my life, for that matter. Helicopter CHP saved my life. So much saved my life. But I could have been on the couch at an angel's house where I was for weeks. And I could have just been railing against what is. But I had so little energy. I literally couldn't lift my head up off of the couch. That in my better moments, I could go to gratitude, I could go to love, but what I could do most of all is just accept. Because in that place of acceptance, you are in a state of grace. Acceptance is grace. Acceptance is saying at the end of the day, if you pull on the string, if you pull on the thread of acceptance, what you find is the expression from Paul Selig's guides. And I love Paul Selig so much, author of Alchemy and I Am the Word and so many other incredible books. And we just had him on again last week. You find God is, God is, God is. That means, that expression means that everything is spirit, everything is God, everything is the divine energy, everything is the Akashic field, and everything is here to serve us because it's all divine. God is, God is, God is. And that place of acceptance or grace helps you let go of victimhood, let go of that lower energetic state, and help raise you up to the upper room. God is, God is, God is. And on that note, I'm going to share with you, I shared it last week as well, Paul Selig's Guide's clearing statement, which helps you get in attunement or help you raise your vibration to the upper room, to that higher vibrational state. I know who I am in truth. And you can just say this, you don't even have to know what it means, but it raises your vibrational state. And I cannot recommend checking out Paul Selig's work enough. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am in the upper room. God is, God is, God is. Truly a message of acceptance. Holy smokes, do we have some beautiful questions coming tonight?
That's from Paul's latest book or his upcoming book?
That is actually
the upcoming book.
Yes, it is not in Alchemy yet. It is from his most recent channelings, which you can actually get. I believe it'd be going to paulselig.com. You can get his most recent channelings.
Mm-hmm.
And all of Paul Selig's books come from his classes. He just speaks, the guides speak through him. And it is recorded and typed out word for word and becomes his next book. And so in his next book, which is going to be
The Kingdom.
Is it called The Kingdom?
I believe so. I'll look it up.
I thought it was something else. But in his next book, it has God is, God is, God is. All right. Again, that's paulselig.com. Quality questions, asks a quality question. Oh, actually, you were reading the questions.
Kingdom.
It is called The Kingdom.
It's okay. You can read.
I think it might be from his next book then.
Oh, this book is coming out in August.
Oh, no, then it must be The Kingdom. Cool. Okay. So what's the next question?
The next question is from Quality Questions.
Yes.
It said, do what you've always done, get what you've always got, and you'll scratch your head wondering why things aren't changing. My question is, how many techniques work?
That's a brilliant question, Quality Question. As a general rule, any one technique carried forth on a daily basis with good quality energy behind it will make massive shifts. We've had almost 1,500 guests on this show. The number of tools we've been exposed to is phenomenal. We have chosen for ourselves, and when I teach, I choose a very select number of techniques that I recommend using on a daily basis. Using everything is like having too many cooks in the stew. But it's very rare that I come across something as a bad technique. It's what's the energy behind it and how regularly will you use it. Of course, I have my all-time favorite. That's awe. I'm exceptionally biased towards automatic writing. That's the only one I do on a daily basis or multiple times a day. But choose one technique and dive into it. And yes, as Einstein said, you can't solve a problem from the level of energy from which it was created. So try different things. Years ago, we had MatCon. We've had MatCon on the show many times. And we were talking about a technique that I don't know where it originated. I'm not sure if Matt knows where it originated, but he brought up the concept of doing one thing differently each and every day. And I love this. It's the concept of take a different way home one day. Brush your teeth with another hand another day. Write with another hand another day. Continuously try doing things differently because it gets you out of your brainwave state or pattern of stuckedness. Again, there's nothing as truly being stuck. That doesn't exist. But the more different ways that you see things, the more you get out of the energetic state or pattern that you were in. So I'm continuously challenging myself to do things a little bit differently. Take a different route with the bicycle. Try something else at a different time. Try something different with the camera. I will have steady protocol for my recordings, but I'm continuously trying to change things up to ensure that I am not getting into that state where, as you said, do what you've always done and you'll get the same results. So I'm always challenging myself to do it a little differently. Hi, how do you know you're not bypassing, says CS. Actually, I jumped in on you on that one. My apologies.
It's okay.
Do you want to go for it?
I'll read the next one.
All right. So CS, I'm guessing what you mean is spiritual bypass. And a spiritual bypass is when, for instance, you go into meditation and you don't do the work. What's the work? Awareness. A spiritual bypass, I guess spiritual bypass can be two things. One, it can be numbing yourself out with meditation. Two, it can be thinking, I'm spiritual and I'm all high and mighty, and then just skipping past whatever it gets to be worked on. Don't worry, anything that you didn't work on and you bypassed will come back around, usually with a vengeance or a 2x4. To avoid the 2x4. Ram Dass, author of Be Here Now, the original Be Here Now, before Eckhart Tolle, he would say to snuggle up with things. We met him on Maui. Oh my God, his eyes, his energy was incredible. He would say to snuggle up with things. So to prevent a bypass, I want you to snuggle up with your fear, snuggle up with negative emotions. There's a difference between snuggling up with something and dwelling on it. Dwelling on it brings you down. Dwelling on it is what gives you that lower vibrational frequency. You can see me smiling, going to this state right here. Snuggling up means to hold yourself or hold your wound in your arms like you would hold the most precious, innocent child and say, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What can we learn from this? How can I help you? How can I help you to feel better? What's going on? I love you. I love you. I love you. That's to snuggle up with. That's how you prevent the bypass. And that's how you begin to heal some of those deepest core wounds. So when those fear, worries, anxieties, whatever comes up with, I'm not saying change the channel and go, nah, poo-poo. That's a technical term. What I'm saying is we want to lean in and learn from it, but be aware of when you are dwelling on it and change the channel. Two completely different things. If I'm hurt and in a lot of pain, first off, I'm going to get the knife out of my foot. Then I might go watch a funny Disney movie and then come back around when I'm feeling better and go, all right, I'm ready. How did I end up with a knife in my foot? What can I learn from this and how can I prevent this from happening again? And I love myself up, even though somehow I ended up with a knife in my foot.
Good.
I'm good.
All right. Next question from Melissa. How do you deal with the traumas when in pain? There's a correlation of pains causing anxiety and depression, and also emotional trauma pain causing physical pains too. What's your take on that?
So Melissa, brilliant question. And I'm going to give you three options here. One is to grab the energy of pain and to realize that it's just an energy. And in your mind's eye, I want you to, what are we going to do with this pain? I don't know. I want her to grab a meat grinder.
What?
And to picture the pain as Play-Doh. And I want you to put it in the meat grinder.
Oh, the Play-Doh comes with.
I forgot it. This is the visual that I've got right now. What is this?
The presses. You could squeeze noodles out or.
Cool. So I want you to play a game with pain because pain is just energy. I am someone who I had the 90-degree leg bend in my foot or leg. If I told you the number of pain, I'm not trying to make light of what you're going through, but pain's just energy. You can play with this pain. So I want you to energetically put it in the meat grinder, put it in the Play-Doh grinder, and I want you to play with it and spit out multicolored spaghetti And then I want you to mold that into something fun in your mind's eye. So each time pain comes up is an opportunity to play with it. Play with it. It's just energy. You can morph it. You can change it. Secondly, learn EFT tapping. Oh my God, can EFT tapping help with pain? Now, if, for instance, you have a broken leg, and I'm just using that as an example because it certainly can be with autoimmune disorders, neuropathy, all sorts of things. But broken pain is easier to describe in my case here. If you have a broken leg, there is the pain, and then there is the fear, worry, and anxiety over the pain that creates more pain. That's where a lot of back pain comes from. We've had some amazing back pain experts on who talk about the different feedback loops that you get into with back pain. And if we get the feedback loop under control, the pain goes away. What's the feedback loop? Oh my God, I've got back pain. Oh my God, I've got back pain. It's never going to go away. Oh my God, the back pain is never going to go away. The back starts to tighten up. Oh my God, there's back pain, there's back pain, there's back pain. It's tighten up. I don't know that it's ever going to go away. My whole life is going to be ruined. It tightens up. And you get this loop going. EFT tapping helps you knock out the loop, not the actual pain, whatever that means. So for instance, if your pain on your leg that you've broken is at a level 10, it might go down to a 2 or 3. And so we've had numerous interviews with tapping experts. So go Inspire Nation, go tapping, and you can find out how to do that. Lastly, I would go to the Body Code with Dr. Bradley Nelson. And it is a phenomenal technique at getting at a lot of the roots of the pain. And then I don't know why, but I love him very dearly. Richard Gordon with Quantum Touch. I would also take a look at that. But I think I would start first with Body Code from Dr. Bradley Nelson. And even a step before that, you can at least do Emotion Code, which you can probably even learn for free. But my guess is there are Body Code practitioners around the world, and there are EFT practitioners. I think the EFT ones are even free. But I would start there. And no matter what, Melissa, I would love yourself up. The more you love yourself up, the more the pain dials back, no matter how severe. Wow, the questions keep coming. It's kind of cool.
It's kind of hard to keep up, but okay.
And you're in charge for when we call this good tonight.
Okay. I don't know how long we've been going for. I'll check after this question. From Tammy. Some people warn that one needs to do something to protect themselves before doing awe. Is that true? I don't believe anything would be wanting to harm me or anyone during awe. Is there any reason to be concerned about that? And by awe, Tammy is referring to the automatic writing experience.
Yes. So Tammy, automatic writing is a bit different than Ouija boards. And Ouija boards is kind of grabbing any spirit out there, and God only knows, quite literally, who or what you are going to attract. Automatic writing, or our process called the automatic writing experience, you literally envelop yourself in a protective bubble of love and light, protected by the highest level source. And then you dive into your writing so that you're only going to the specific spirit, guide, loved one, or source that you want to go to. So it is a very loving, safe process. With that said, if you're struggling with a bipolar disorder, if you're struggling with multiple personality, if you have a very unstable psychological condition, you want to get that under control before you dive into any process to communicate with spirit, because it is too hard either for you to discern, A, or B, having nothing to do with automatic writing, you could have a hitchhiker with you, meaning a spirit that liked to get home and is stuck with you. And that gets to be addressed first. But specifically when it comes to automatic writing, you are actually enveloping yourself in the most beautiful bubble of love and light before you step forward. And that's almost at page number 1, really in the first chapter of the book. Actually, technically, first chapter is asking all of your big questions. Chapter 2 dives into how you get started. And that is prayer number 1. So beautiful, beautiful question, Tammy.
We're good in time. We've been going for about 80 some minutes.
Okay.
From Allie. Thank you for this. Neville Goddard taught that the key to all manifestations and conscious creating is to what he called living in the end, vibrationally. What are your thoughts?
Allie, I absolutely love it. And I'm going to steal a term here from Dr. Joe Vitale. And Neville is his hero. Neville is a lot of people's hero. Mitch Horowitz, one of our all-time favorite guests, actually has Neville Goddard tattooed on his arm/shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And so Neville's got it going on. And Dr. Joe Vitale calls this term to Nevilize something, to look with the end in mind. So, and to Nevilize, an example would be, where do I want to move now that I have all the money in the world? What do I want to do now that I can do anything? Where do I want to be in life now that all these amazing opportunities have opened up to me? I like asking things as questions, but what it is putting yourself in the state of already being there, becoming a vibrational match to it, which is like being able to put the key in the door to the universe, knowing that it is exactly the right key to give you exactly what you want. And it is an incredibly powerful technique. However, if you can't get yourself to that state, still love yourself up, but what you can do, not a bypass, is one, if you can't Nevilize it for yourself, go put yourself in the mind's eyes or looking through the eyes of someone for whom they have already done this. So if you can't picture starting your own Goop, this multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company to help change the world, look at the world through the eyes of Gwyneth Paltrow. If you can't picture yourself becoming a #1 New York Times bestseller or selling 500 million books, imagine that you are not only Mark Dwyer Hansen or his wife, but look through their eyes at the world, and you will suddenly find yourself in a vibrational match. And if you cannot do that, then get to whatever level of energy you can sustain. So there is sports psychologist Michael Gervais, who we've had on the show as well. And he trained Felix Baumgartner, an amazing stuntman who was going to jump out of a hot air balloon at then a world record 120,000 feet high, and he was going to break through the sound barrier before he pulls his parachute over 700 miles an hour, coming down through the outer atmosphere in a spacesuit coming down to Earth. And guess what? When he did his visualization work, he had nobody's eyes to look through, and it freaked him out to try to look with the end in mind. It was just too much of a mind bender to put himself there. Why? I asked Michael this question. It was the most interesting answer. So he had done base jumping, and he'd done parachutes, and he'd done all of these things where Felix would prepare all of his equipment himself. But now he had to rely on somebody putting together the spacesuit, somebody bolting the spacesuit, on somebody responsible for the oxygen tanks, and on and on and on and on it went. And it was too much for his mind because he wanted to control things, too much for his mind to hold on to. And so what he had to do is visualize the end in mind only up to what is safe. So at first, what was safe is maybe putting on one glove. And so he would imagine himself putting on one glove and how it would feel and how cool that would be. And then the second glove, and then the suit, and then getting into the hot air balloon, and then going to the end in mind to what his subconscious would accept so that he wasn't forcing himself into a state of fear. And it's very, very interesting because what I've heard from guest after guest after guest, in fact, we have a most amazing guest on Tuesday by the name of Ashley Stahl. And Ashley Stahl talks about how she built a multi-million-dollar business early on in her career, but it exceeded what her subconscious was comfortable with, and so she literally blew it up, and went from bringing in what she said was many $1 million a week to blowing up the entire company and being $500,000 in debt because her subconscious wasn't willing to accept her success. And so in our visualization work, we want to go only to the limit of what we can accept, except if we can go on to the other side of that and, for instance, look through somebody else's eyes or find a visualization technique, one by Colleen Barron-Reed that I absolutely love. You get to fly on your dragon and fly on the other side of your limiting belief. There's so many cool techniques, but do not butt heads with that state of fear or you're anchoring in more fear.
From Allison, don't you somewhat channel your books, Michael?
Absolutely, Allison. I, on the one hand, completely channel my books. On the other hand, I do not seem to have I know what it is. I discussed this recently. So Paul Selig's books are phenomenal, incredible, out of this world. And he just speaks and they come out. For myself, I meld my life experiences, my clients' life experiences, wherever I'm wanting to go, those experiences, with the words from the Guides of Awe. And if I'm not careful, I get in the soup too much. And that's why we ended up having to do 2 or 3 complete rewrites of automatic writing. I'm now much better at stepping back and just letting the Guides of Awe do the dictating, but I'm continuously asking questions, and we have this beautiful conversation going back and forth. So I like the writing that's coming out now more than ever. I have a current book on magic, on spells, on how we can attract and create in our lives. And that is on my better days, spilling out directly from the Guides of Awe. On my lesser days, when it comes through and my waking mind my thinking mind is too awake, I take that down as notes and I come back to the Guides of Awe for clarity rather than ending up with a 1,000-page manuscript, which has happened before when the guides got going and I didn't know how to ride that wild horse.
No comment. All right.
You said enough with that one.
I'm looking at the time. Let's get through 2 more questions, and then I think you should dive into a guided meditation.
I would agree with that.
All right. Okay. From Be Great, I love that handle. With doing mantras, is the spell more powerful if spoken out loud instead of just internal talk or writing it down?
Be Great. That is a brilliant, brilliant question. And I think there's an incredible power in the word. There is, in terms of power, just thinking it is powerful. Thinking it and writing it down, more powerful. Thinking it, writing it, and speaking it, even more powerful. Thinking, writing, and
singing it?
I would say the most powerful of them. Oh, actually, we're going to get one more step that's coming to me. Thinking it, writing it,
singing it,
and feeling it as if it is already there, or visualizing it. So in Denise Wood's interview coming out Thursday, when she is working with Oscar winners and helping them get their voice, she would say that when you read a script and you read the word blue, you don't just read the word blue. You think of the ocean, you feel the ocean, you imagine diving into, bless you, diving into the ocean. And now you're embodying that emotional state. And so when you do your mantras, say it in your mind's eye, write it, sing it, and feel it. Find a way to connect it viscerally to your beingness, and that helps you bring it about. Mantras are most powerful 2 or 3 times of the day. 1, right before bedtime when you're in that half awake, half asleep state, that hypnagogic state. Secondly, on the other side of the clock, when you're just waking up. Thirdly, in automatic writing or any other time, you can get yourself into what's called a theta brainwave state, or a hypnagogic state in the middle of the day. Anytime you're in these hypnagogic states, You're writing on the other side of the veil. That's why Emile QA, famous for every day in every way, I am getting better and better, wasn't saying just to say that a million times a day, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Okay, that helps. But to me, that's like the gentleman in Shawshank Redemption scooping out the wall with a spoon and then with a little pick, a little stone pickaxe at the wall for 30 some odd years to carve through his subconscious, because it's a metaphorical movie. That's really what's going on. Look at the movie again from a spiritual level, from a level of a subconscious. Instead, if he had gone to it at night with a jackhammer, hypnagogic state, he would have made much more powerful gains.
Okay, last question for the night. From Amanda, how do you heal and cope with fear and shame?
Amanda, I want you to put your arms around yourself. Hang in there. This is not going to be easy. You can do this, though. That's a nocebo effect. This is going to be super easy, Amanda. And say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Put baby Amanda now in your arms. And I want you to look at this innocent child, this tiny babe in the woods. And I want you to tell her, it's okay, Amanda. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. I am here for you. I have got you. I will protect you. And I will make sure no more harm ever comes to you. I have got your back. If you can do this, Amanda, before you go to bed every night, and you can even ask her to speak with you and to share with you, allow that wounded child inside of you to speak her piece. Now you're playing a game of grace. Yes, you can go to automatic writing. It helps. Yes, you can do any of the other techniques here tonight. Those can help as well. But I need you to start loving up that inner child, that truly innocent child with everything that you've got. Shame, I've heard, is the lowest vibrational frequency on the planet. I don't know. I haven't tested whether it is or not, but it is certainly one that is a tremendous boat anchor. And no matter what you did or think you did or did not do, it's not yours and it's not real. It's the tribes. It's what you've been taught. It's what you have been, Don Miguel Ruiz would call it domesticated, brainwashed into believing that there is something wrong with you for doing X, Y, or Z. You cannot control a nanosecond before now. No matter what you did, Amanda, you are a spiritual being learning just along like all of us, having a human existence, and you are God. Part of God, but you are the divine. Unless you have a time machine, nothing can be gained by shaming or hurting yourself. But everything can be gained by loving yourself up like there's no tomorrow. So, on the book recommendation side of things, certainly get yourself automatic writing and dive in and start to heal these wounds, but also get yourself Kamal Ravikant's book, Love Yourself Like There's No Tomorrow. Because ultimately, Amanda, that's where it's going to begin, that's where it's going to end, and that is everywhere in between. Love you so much, Amanda. Love you, love you, love you. So, do you have anything you want to add? I know you're looking up right now Kamal Ravikant's book so that everybody can have the link for that. After you get that posted, and go for it and post it, and then I'll ask you. She's running so many things at the same time. Is there anything else you want me to share or add before we go into a meditation?
If you don't like reading books, another way to learn automatic writing is through the online course. And with the online course, there's monthly live calls with Michael. And the next one is February 4th.
Woohoo!
And you can go to automaticwriting.com to find out more about that.
And that's a whole video-based series that'll walk you through step by step. There's a Facebook group for that where people are learning and growing together. And I'll be teaching you live on February 4th how to do that as well. You can also, if you've already dove in, if you've already been practicing, then you can come and ask your questions on automatic writing there as well. That is our program that we are most proud of. Lastly, again, I highly recommend getting on. It comes out in a week and a half. And it's life-changing. It's what we use every single day to say, where am I going? What do I need to do? How do I heal this wound? What are the challenges I'm facing? Why did I have a nightmare last night? What can I learn from this experience? Can I speak with my loved one who's passed on? Can I speak to my pet? Can I speak to my pet Mole, who passed on last year, on a daily basis? How can I manifest? And on it goes. So I recommend 3 copies again. Get one for yourself, get one for a loved one, and get one for somebody who's really struggling, really struggling, because I have seen automatic writing lift the dark cloak off of so many people, because you're getting into attunement, you're getting into frequency, you're getting into vibrational alignment with spirit or source just through this practice. Shall we do a meditation? All right. Have we exceeded your...
My
recommended time?
We're at 100 minutes.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I love you guys. I truly mean that. I love you. I love you. I love you. So we are going to do, and I may have done something. I did this for one of my classes last week. So if you've already gotten this, then you just get to enjoy it again. We are going to do a meditation, neuro-linguistic programming meditation, that I used years ago. I was getting back into bicycle racing. I had healed from PTSD, and I was back racing at the professional level. But I was freaked out. And that is a technical term. I was so scared that something bad would happen, that my heart rate is going really fast and my chest is tightening up. And each race that started, I found myself out of the race about 5 minutes in because I had over-revved my engine. And so I started practicing this NLP technique to reduce stress and anxiety and link in a positive state until I got to the races and I was in a state of bliss. Now, I will say this. It worked too well because I was in such a state of bliss that I no longer wanted to compete against anybody around me. I remember one of my last races, I looked around at everybody around me and I'm like, look at all the pretty colors. That's when you know you're in trouble. Because I went from a place of competition to co-opetition. Wow, I love to work with everybody. I'd love to help everybody. I'd like everybody to win, which didn't exactly work for the racing technique. Although I had a great race when I first started doing this again. All right. So what I would like you to do is sit up nice and tall, but comfortable. Just start thinking some loving thoughts to yourself, whatever that may mean for you. I'd like you to breathe in and out. In through the nose, down to the belly. and out. In and out. And now, as you continue to breathe in and out, I would like you to think of one of your favorite, most calming, most beautiful experiences you've ever had in your life. Could be at a beach, a party, wedding, a birth of a loved one, on a hilltop, making love, anything at all. As you continue to breathe in and out, I would like you to put yourself there in your mind's eye. And by that, I mean, imagine and see yourself having this experience again and looking through your eyes at the very experience. You can see the sand and the water. You could see your partner. You could see the band. In my case, I'm laying on an inflatable mattress, towed behind a sailboat off the coast of Maine. I can see the water. I can put my fingers in the water and touch it. I can smell the salty air. I can feel the mattress bobbing up and down with each wave that passes. I am in bliss. So I'd like you to put yourself there, everything that you've got. How does it feel? How does it sound? How does it taste and smell? What does it look like? And as you anchor this in, we're going to use a very simple code word today to help bring you back to this state any time you'd like. And that code word is going to be the word yes. When you hear yourself saying yes, you see yourself in that most beautiful, perfect, blissful moment. You see it, yes. You feel it, yes. You breathe it in, yes. You touch it, yes. Taste it, yes. Hear it, yes. Experience it, yes, yes, yes. Yes will bring you back. Yes will put you in that state. And now you see it, feel it, touch it, taste it, embody it. Yes will bring you there. And I want you next to clap your hands together and know that anytime you clap your hands together, you will bring yourself back there. Yes. I see it, feel it, touch it, taste it, smell it, embody it. Yes, yes, yes. I see it. I feel it. I touch it. I taste it. I hear it. I embody it. Yes, yes, yes. I am on the beach. I am on a plane. I am with my loved one. I am at a wedding. I am at a birth. Yes, 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 yes. I see it. I feel it. I touch it. I taste it. I hear it. I embody it. I smell it. Yes, 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 yes. See it, feel it, hear it, touch it, taste it, smell it. See it, touch it, feel it, hear it, taste it, smell it. Yes, 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 yes. Ooh. From now on, if you need a state change, if you're in fear, if you're in worry, if you're in a state of anxiety, Yes, 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 yes. Okay, if you're in a bathroom stall, yes, 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 yes. But this combination will bring you back there. Yes, 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 yes. And if you're not, do this along with me right now and see it, feel it, touch it, taste it, hear it, smell it. Yes, 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 yes. Woohoo! Do this before you go to bed. Do this when you rise in the morning. Do this after you've checked that negative, worthless stimulation. Do this if find you've got more month left at the end of your money. You will have an energetic state change that will make you unstoppable. Yes, 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 yes. Woohoo! That's all I've got for this evening. I love you guys so, 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 so much. You are spirit. You are love. You come from love. You couldn't be anything other than love, no matter how much you tried. So love yourself up. Yes, 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 with everything that you've got. Come join us Tuesday night for Ashley Stahl. Join us Thursday night for Denise Woods. Yes, 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 yes. Can't wait to see you there. And above and beyond all else, keep on shining bright. Woohoo! And yes, get automatic writing. Yes, 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 yes. Love you guys. And thank you, Jessica, for running everything. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here this evening. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Yes. All right. See you guys. Have a great evening.